Welcome everybody to Talk That Talk, where we have the unfiltered, unscripted, uncomfortable conversation. All right, golly, I'm all messed up. All right. Welcome everybody to Talk That Talk. We have the unfiltered, unscripted, uncomfortable conversation about band, HBCU, band culture, music education, and more. Man, y'all go ahead and hit the like daddy right now. Don't even wait on it. Go ahead and tap it. I was gonna say some other stuff, but you know what? I'm gonna leave it out. I'm not even gonna say all the other stuff. Not tonight. At least not right now. First and foremost, before we even get this show started, man, it's been a lot going on, specifically at Morgan State University. So I definitely want to send the condolences and well wishes out to Norfolk State University, the faculty, the students, just everybody surrounding the campus, man. I'm very unfortunate the things that have happened, but we send our love here at the Passionates Network, man. So just wanted to go ahead and start that out, man. I didn't want to start it in a somber mood, but I mean, hey, the reality is that we always have to acknowledge those things that's going on. All right, man, what's going on, brother? Hey, man, you look a little slim in the face. Is that on purpose or is that stress? I'm just asking. I gotta ask. You know, you muted, Smiths.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, gotcha.
All right, that's actually on purpose, bro.
Okay. All right. Cool. I'm gonna ask you about that in a second. I heard that homecoming was canceled. That is just an unfortunate situation. The situation that happened obviously wasn't completely unfortunate, but the fact that homecoming was canceled on top of that, man, I mean, that's just, yeah. So, man, I don't want that to bring my mood down. But what I will say also is this. If you guys haven't been watching the Passionates Network, yes, I have started a new segment. Those are going to be released every Monday. Luke's Band Report. I decided that I wanted to move Luke's Band Report from here to its own entity. That would give us enough time to be able to talk about the things that we need to talk about or we would like to talk about or whatever the show's topic is. And then on top of that, again, I'm trying to be respectful of everybody's time. So I wouldn't want everybody sitting on for about 20 minutes, 30 minutes watching me go through that process. And then, after that, then we go on with the show. So with that being said, man, that's the reason why I decided to do that. So if you guys aren't watching or have not watched it, you guys can go back and watch that on Monday. I appreciate all the feedback that I've gotten. So yeah, there it is, man. Man, what you been doing, man, to get a little skinny, brother? Slim it up a little bit. I need to be on your regimen.
I haven't eaten meat in 30 days.
You ain't been putting that meat in your mouth for 30 days?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I can't even say the word what it is because I don't want to offend nobody, but wait.
I got you. But that's good. So you're basically on the fruits and the vegetables, staying off of the bread, all that kind of stuff, right?
I try. My Achilles heel is French fries.
Got you. I mean,
but outside of that, veggies, smoothies in the morning, plant-based things that I research, because some plant-based things have actual meat in it.
Yeah. That's good though. That's very good. I'm happy for you. And if you're gonna do the French fries, man, the air fryer works, man. You can put the French fries in the air fryer. It takes a lot of the calories and the cholesterol out of it. So I mean that's definitely an option. Or you can do sweet potato fries, man. So you got options there, man. So I'm just kind of helping you out, man. I know what it felt like to lose the meat at one time, and I'm trying to get. Yes, I said lose the meat, and I'm in the process of trying to get back to that myself. So, more power to you. I'm rooting for you to stay off the meat. So, oh, it's too easy. All right, man. With that being said, man, I want to go ahead and get inside of the topic. Oh man, look, I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna be very honest with you, man. Today has been a very, very long day for me. So my energy was like super low. So having the opportunity to come on here and just kick it with my people and my family, man, is always energizing for me. So if I seem delirious, it's because between me being sleepy and just being able to have this time with my people, man, this is always rejuvenating for me. All right, man, let's go ahead and get into it. Let's get into the information. So I'm going to start it this way. The way that we have kind of received a lot of information, the way that we have communicated information throughout this year and many years prior to, specifically as it relates to band directors, but also in maybe I want to say color guard directors, dance directors, so on and so forth. We've always talked about the idea or the fact of gatekeeping. And I want to make sure that I give the proper definition before I get further into this. So we know that the definition for gatekeeping, the activity of controlling and usually limiting general access to something. So limiting access to anything or something, whether that be a job or whether that be a specific situation or whatever, we can see that possibility happening. And so because of that, I've heard many people talk about gatekeeping within what we do in the community. And so I actually want to have the conversation about it and see, is this thing real? Is gatekeeping real? Is it a myth? Is it a fact? I just want to be able to have this conversation because the truth of the matter is I talked to one person who said that doesn't exist. And so I want to jump right into it. First of all, Quan, let me go ahead and ask you. Oh, and before we get into this, I do want to say this. I want to put this out here. I don't know if you guys remember on our last auxiliary show, we had the ladies on here and myself. I was just in the background. I really didn't have to be there. Portia could have took it because she was killing it. But if you all remember T, she will be joining us not this week, not next week, but the week after next. So she'll be joining us on the show again the week after next. So I just wanted to put that out there. So be ready for some feedback from her. I think she was really great on the show, and I invited her back to see if she can give us that same insight that she gave on the last show. Anyway, so here we go. Quan, let me ask you this, brother. Do you feel like gatekeeping is a real thing? I'm gonna start it right there.
We're gonna start it off real fast, bro. So in my opinion, yes. Um, it's like I understand it, but I still don't feel like it's right. Um, if you look at, for example, some of the administrators or band directors, whatnot, that have sat in some seats for like 30 plus years, bro, and everyone sees the decline of the band, but nobody says nothing, and no one hires anyone else. Like they don't want to hire the new young cat, quote unquote. That's gatekeeping. That's a form of gatekeeping. And if we're just going to be honest, another form of gatekeeping is only hiring people from your institution. That is a form of gatekeeping too. We don't want to admit it. And I understand that we always speak about, well, you got to keep tradition. That's fine. You should, I believe that you should always have a credible alumnus, whatever, on on the band staff at an institution. However, but to just discredit them and don't hire another qualified person, I mean, I just think that's, uh, in Luke's word, disingenuous and almost egregious. Because how can you grow? How can you add those nuances that improves the program? I'm not gonna lie, and I'll say this in front of him. When Dr. Zachary first got to PV, I was like, damn, like I don't like this. I don't. I didn't. Still was going through the grieving process of Prof. Edwards and through those transitions. But when I sat down with him, had that conversation, and then started to see the things that he was doing, even from the state of academics where people are really graduating. Like we could start there. People are graduating with their degrees. They're not sitting in, the institution for 10 years being, professional band marchers. So I mean, from all of those things that he added to my alma mater, I think is outstanding. And I feel like you give other people those chances and opportunities as well. But gatekeeping, most definitely. But that's not just at the band standpoint. That's the music and faculty department. Um, and it's crazy because, like, as African Americans, we caught it in this dichotomy because certain PWIs we know we can't just walk into because we don't have the name, the college, or the stature from the university. And then some of our own universities won't even hire us. So where do we go? Gatekeeping, bro.
All right, so you said a mouthful. First off, I do want to give a shout out. What's going on, brother Curry? Dallas ISD had a really big battle of the bands here during the State Fair Classic, man. So it was really good to be able to see Dallas ISD and the band programs really do some, come together and have a battle of the bands, man. It's been a while since I've seen a lot of those groups within the same place. So again, shout out to Dallas ISD band programs. Good to see numbers in a lot of these programs. So the first thing you said that I want to question is you said you understand it. Why is it that you understand it? I mean, if it's something that you feel that is not necessarily helping the situation or helping the culture specifically, then why is it that you feel like you understand it? You muted.
I understand it because overall, understanding is I know that it happens. To a degree, I know why it happens. Because even myself, it's a crazy dichotomy. I want someone that's from the storm during real talk, if I could be honest, from my era to be on staff. But I appreciate what Dr. Zachary, Michonne, and them have brought to the table, right? I don't believe that they're gatekeeping because they hired alumnus from within, right? However, but as a band director, if we're going to be honest, why do we, Luke, real talk, why do we join fraternities? To continue an aspect of networking of people that you can quote unquote trust. My frat brother is as an administrator here. There are times when because we're frat and we know that handshake, I may be privy to some information that somebody may not. So I get it. See what I'm saying? So it's like, even let's be real. Luke, if I got a director of band position, you think I'm not gonna call you? Nah, well, could somebody consider that gatekeeping? You dig what I'm saying? Because I'm hiring somebody that I trust. So what I'm saying is I understand it. I get it. But I feel like there's certain situations and scenarios where you're deliberately doing it. Nah. Now you gotta hire people you trust on staff. That's a given, right? However, if a person is qualified, I may give them a chance. I think that's the difference. So I have to understand it.
So I'm gonna go along the lines of everything you're saying, and hiring somebody from your own alma mater, right? Having somebody from the staff that is of your own alma mater. So great examples that we can give from that is FAM, Southern, so on and so forth. There are a couple of others that you can talk about, but those are the two that just kind of ring in my brain at this moment. Um, could one say that that is the reason for their success is the fact that they only hired within?
I mean, yes and no. I mean, because right now in regards of those institutions, and we're just gonna be honest, we could put Jackson in that same category, right? We know FAM, we know Southern. For the most part, those three universities will never change. I don't ever see them changing ever. Jackson, Southern, and even if I'm gonna be honest, I will put Bethune in that category as well. now because he's been there at for an extended amount of time and his tenure is long, I don't even believe that for Norfolk. You know, and I see the comments of Mr. Allah. He says if it's positive, it's going to work. But while you go through that trial period of figuring out yourself, let's be real. I mean, what Dr. Zachary went through and endeavored through, it wouldn't, and even you, Luke, in those beginning years, that wasn't easy. The chatter from the alumni, the blogs, and all so forth and so on, because that's not your school. It's kind of like anytime somebody else takes the helm of a school that they didn't graduate from, what ends up happening is it's kind of like if you go into if your quote unquote significant other passes away, and as a husband, you backdoor and say you got kids, and you be like, yeah, I'm the new stepdaddy. With your daddy, some things he did was good, most of the things he did was bad. That's the acceptance of it. You dig what I'm saying? So it's a crazy dichotomy. I mean, if he does well, but through that trial period, you're gonna suffer, bro. And I think that's the difference with Southern. I mean, you had one band director that was there almost 4 decades, and then the second person after him was under him, and then a person was under him. So everybody's good. It's a difference.
So I gotta I don't know, man. I'm gonna push back on some of this, and it's only because if we go back to what you said that those people who are going to stay in those positions, or those people who only come from those schools, okay, you said basically like Southern FAM, those people are not going to change, right? Like that situation is not going to change. Is that a good thing though? Like if we really start looking at it, is that a good thing? Does that block not only the opportunity for somebody to be able to fall into a position to where they can truly spread their wings to the point to where they can truly add something different to the program, but also does that make the innovation of those programs stagnant?
I don't know. And the reason why I say I don't know is because look at Jackson. Jackson got better. You don't think Jackson got better?
So here's my thing. If you really want to have that conversation, there are areas where I feel like Jackson improved, but I think a lot of that was based on Dow Taylor and what he did when he came back, and now what has been carried on since then. Like something as simple as a Tiger run on at one point had gotten real sloppy. Dow Taylor came back and cleaned it up. And now it's by far cleaner than what it was. When we talk about Jackson getting better, I mean, from what angle are we speaking of?
Let's speak from a marketing standpoint. That's number one. From growth, retention, recruitment. Honestly, bro, every other year, depending on your opinion in the rankings, they're the number one, number two band in the nation, bro.
But that ain't new information though. At what point?
Nah, nah,
At
nah.
what
If
point Jackson wasn't top five? At what
huh?
point? At what point was Jackson not top five?
Uh, I would say a 4 or 5.
You tripping?
That's my opinion.
I'm not
You
saying.
asked me. Remember, you asked me.
Facts. I'm just saying. You tripping because what? Now we getting off topic here, but at '04, who would you put in the top 5 in '04?
Oh, four, top five. uh, I ain't trying to be funny. We kind of getting old. I'm really thinking. Uh,
I
I
mean,
actually will put in '04. My one of my favorites. That's when I started discovering the MEAC. Of course, I will put FAMU in there because FAMU was still FAMing at that time. I would actually put North Carolina A&T up in there at that time. I didn't see any footage of Norfolk. I didn't. But I had the DVDs of NCAT, so that's what I knew, right? Um, NCAT had that swag sound, in my opinion, around that time. Um, of definitely, you will put Southern up there, and honestly, you got to put TSU up there around that time. And for me, I mean, no lie, Pete, that was PV's one of their last largest years, '03, '04. But for me, PV was always the drum section. And in 2004, that drum section was killing. So I'm gonna put them in the top five.
that's not the whole band though.
You're right. You're right.
So
But they was butt kicking playing in '04. It just didn't really go nowhere.
okay, so I don't necessarily fully agree with that, but all right, that's fine. That's by your opinion, right? So
Correct.
still again, getting back to the topic, 'cause we done got way off, but again, saying so I personally don't feel like there is much innovation within itself that has changed in Jackson. You know, I would say, you know, arrangements are slightly different. I would say that there's a level of power to them that wasn't always there. Um,
Trump is a back.
yeah, I would say that Trump funk is a lot better.
Yeah.
But I don't know if we. I mean, I guess you can attribute that to the alumni, you know, recirculating through the program. I don't know. I guess so, but again,
Also, also, not to cut you off, but from a percussive aspect, Warren Thunder like upped everything, everything. So
eh, I mean, again, I think that we're we look at we look at it from two totally different perspectives. I'm looking at innovation. I'm looking at something, looking to see something different, not necessarily seeing. And it's good to be able to see the things you have been doing and improve on that. I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, because I would think that that's what any program would want to do, right? But as I continue to look at the whole spectrum of HBCU bands, and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that there are other people who are doing it that, you know, in places where there are alumni circulating, there aren't. They're not doing it, but I'm just talking about from an innovative aspect. When you have the same folks circulating or the same alumni circulating, will that create a level of stagnation? Stagnation is a word, right? I think so. Anyway, will you become stagnant, and your level of creativity, and will it hold you back from moving forward because of the fact that you only um, look back to what you used to do and try to keep it in that same vein? That's kind of where I'm looking at it from, and I could be wrong, but I mean, what do so you think that you feel that that can still happen with the same people circulating in the same area?
to it, like I say, to a degree, because that all depends on if that person is still seeking and is still continuing to be a lifelong learner. So let's be honest. For the most part, what really changes with the band, two main things that are distinctive when it comes to a band program. It's overall tone and sound, and the pageantry you put on the field. That's really it, right? If those nuances change, I never forget when Nathan Hamer took over Southern, and the very first year, they had their first game, I believe, at UL Lafayette, and they did the circle, and then they did a dance routine in the circle to Happy. You remember? You're muted, big dog.
Yeah,
Um,
I was muted on purpose because I didn't want to interrupt you, but yeah, I remember that.
and like that was the first time I've ever saw Southern stop, do a dance routine, and then go back to drilling. Not being ugly, people was like, "Wow." You dig what I'm saying? Like because we're accustomed to drum major, march out, fanfare if you're gonna do one, downfield drill, and we could look at Southern drills and be like, "Oh, this one from this year." He still did those nuances, but then he started adding more things, and then adding more things. And I believe because he was he is a lifelong learner, and because he had the cachet, and then he also had the Southern credibility, he could change and tweak those things and made it better. But then you may look at another band program where they're doing the same things and they're not growing because maybe that's all they know. So it
And
just depends.
yeah, and I think that was a really good example. Um, I think, and my thing is like when you get those situations, I think you get those diamonds in the rough, right? Who are open to try something different, who are open to kind of push the envelope a little bit, right? But I would say by and large, most of the time when you get the same people circulating, you probably won't get the same. You probably will get the same outcome back to back. So I'm gonna switch gears just to kind of go off of something because you brought up something and I also saw it in the comments. But first of all, welcome everybody to Talk That Talk. We have the unfiltered, unscripted, uncomfortable conversation about band, HBCU band culture, music education, and more. If you guys are in here, while you guys are in here, while you guys are in the chat, and everything else, man, go ahead, tap that like daddy. Don't even wait on it. Just go ahead and smash that like button. That helps us with the YouTube algorithm. Also, please make sure you subscribe to the Passionates Network and turn on notifications. This episode will be up on all your podcasts and networks. Just type in Talk That Talk, except for on Apple Podcasts, where you can type in Real Talk That Talk. I'm gonna switch gears just for a second. It may not be for a second. It may be quite a while. I saw this in the comments, and I know you said something along the lines of this as well. We do it to ourselves. Can you expound on that a little bit more?
So when I was in regards to gatekeeping, when I explained that we're doing it to ourselves, so it's like we won't hire this person that's outside of our network and circle that's truly qualified that you've interviewed, that you've vetted, because maybe that person will expose some of your deficiencies. That's number one. Number two, um because it's not a person that we quote unquote reared, sometimes I feel like our egos are so big to where it's like we feel like that person will then surpass us or surpass the ego and pride of that individual. I've seen that happen. And then number 3.3, I also feel that at the end of the day, bro, there's some directors that they feel like they have nothing else and they want to die in that seat. So they then shortchange certain people in certain positions so that they can just maintain a job. We do it to ourselves. You there?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, cool. All right, everybody. Welcome back to Talk That Talk. This is with your boy
Yeah, I
Quano.
heard you. I heard you, dog. I heard. Hey, look, I got a business call, so at the same, I had to handle it real quick.
You
But,
good?
but, I think the thing is, and flow with me here for a second. And
Flow it.
this may hurt. It may sting a little bit, but you win some, you lose some.
Hmm.
Is that necessarily against our people? So, for instance, I have the qualifications, or let's say me and you in the same boat, right? I go to get the job at Norfolk. You go to get the job at Norfolk. I'm just using this as an example. All
Mm.
right. They hire me. You may feel like it was gatekeeping because of the fact that I went to Norfolk,
Mhm.
but maybe I was just more qualified. And again, you win some, you lose some. So do you feel like that could also be a situation of what's going on?
Nah, I don't. Because there's a difference between and let's be quite frank. If you graduated from Norfolk and you're applying to Norfolk with those qualifications against another person that's outside, that the only determining factor is the president. And the president and then the salary that you may be asking to negotiate. In my opinion, we know that to a degree it's an unspoken rule that you can go back to your to quote unquote your home. Let's be come on now.
Not everybody, I can tell you that right now. But
Mm,
look. I'm just talking about.
okay, let's say this. There's a 80%. There's a 75 to 80% chance that you can. That would that be fair? Like so we can't like we just can't dismiss that part because I've said it on the show many times. At the end of the day, African Americans we want to hold on tradition so much because we feel like tradition was taken away. That is true, and so I feel that I feel that that scenario was different. Now, if you and I was applying to another school like that we had no affiliation with, nah, it is what it is. Congratulations, big dog. That's cool. But it's a difference when we're talking. If you say you was if me and you was in the same position, you was applying for Norfolk, I wouldn't even apply. Just being honest, because there's a 75 to 80% that we agreed upon that you're going to get the job because you know the culture.
Okay. Um so like I kind of feel you. I kind of understand what you're saying, right? But I just think that there's just a piece of it that could possibly just be you just didn't make the cut. You know, so you could so let's put it a different way. You could have a better resume than me, but if your interview sucked and you're not a people person, then you just didn't get it. But I was the one who is an alumni, and because I'm an alumni, I just had to happen to have a better interview, and I said the things that people wanted to hear, and so on and so forth, and I got the job. And so again, that could be or could it be just a situation where somebody's saying, well, he only got hired because he was an alumni, not realizing or not taking in account of the fact that maybe your interview just sucked and you just didn't get the job.
Maybe that that's true, but okay. Are we gonna act like, bro, people don't be like low key hand picking people? Are we just gonna act like that doesn't happen?
We ain't got that far yet. That's not where we at.
Okay, okay, like okay.
Stay on the road, man. Don't veer off the road just
I'm,
yet.
I'm, I'm not trying to big dog, but like mm, both can be true. Like both can be true, but
Nah, did he just free? Oh, okay. You froze for a second.
nah, that's a hard one for me because at the end of the day, I know the reality um of the power of being an alumnus, but I also know the power of a recommendation letter too. And I have to say this because we keep it a thou while If you get a recommendation letter from a credible person, I hate to say it like this, from a PWI, you may get that job.
There's some truth to that, but that's an unfortunate thing because that's like saying white is right.
Okay, so we're gonna just keep it 1,000. We're gonna keep it going because it's been a minute since I've been on the show. No lie, then if that's the case, then why so many qualified people that look like us have to go and get that stamp from the PWI to go back to the institution?
Because we don't offer those degrees.
No, that's one part. Like, okay, so let me say this. As of right now, with your qualifications, right, you can go back to Norfolk if that was your autonomy. I mean, if that was your choice, right?
I'll to move forward in the conversation. I'll say yes.
Okay. So my thing is this. But do you believe that they would hire you? But
No.
do you? I'm sorry. No. I'm sorry. Let me rephrase my question. Do you believe? Do you believe if you received your master's, does Norfolk give masters, right?
I know they used to. I don't know if they still do,
Okay.
but I know
So
that. Yeah, I know they used to.
if you got your undergraduate and your master's from Norfolk, and you got your undergraduate from Norfolk and your master's from Texas Tech, like you do have, which one you think will hold more weight, in your opinion, at your school?
I mean, I'm gonna be honest. It doesn't matter if it was Norfolk or anywhere else. I believe that what I have right now holds more weight than me getting a master's both from Norfolk. But here's the other caveat to that. The other caveat to that is, and appreciate you, Derek. Yeah, they still got the master's program. But
Awesome.
the other caveat to that is the fact that Ricardo Brown has a master's from Norfolk and bachelor's from Norfolk.
Hmm.
And we can both agree that he's been wildly successful.
Correct.
So I don't know if that argument is going to hold up, but I mean, let's see where you're going with that.
I mean, I hate to say it like this, but to a degree, bro, like we do feel like that. Like I wish it wasn't, but the truth is, I do feel like when a person says that they got their masters from, wherever, like they do, bro. Like it holds a different weight.
And I mean, the truth of the matter is, again, to me, that goes to the same argument of white is right, you know. Um, but again, that goes also to the argument of we don't have those degree programs within our schools to be able to justify and to argue whether this argument is true or not. And I get what you're saying. Because the argument really is, we feel like we have to jump ship from our schools in order to acquire the degrees from their schools in order to be welcomed back into our schools. And again, we don't have enough substantial programs that have these higher level degrees to be able to substantiate that argument. Because let's be real, if and I don't know, anybody in the chat, anybody who's watching right now, if Southern, Jackson, Alcorn, I don't know, throw something out there, Bethune, FAM, if all these HBCUs that we admire and we listen to had master's or doctorate degrees, put a one in the chat if you would attend those universities for those degrees instead of going to a predominantly white institution. So that would be, to me, the greatest answer of whether this is going to be true or not, because this is at least a gauge to see, well, I would go to a HBCU to get that higher level degree instead of going to a predominantly white institution. Because if we really look at the truth, most people who go and get higher level degrees, whether it's a master's in science or a business degree or whatever, all of those things, most of them, if they are in an undergraduate program at an HBCU, 9 times out of 10, they're going to go to an HBCU to get that higher level degree because it's offered. And they're probably going to find the school that services that degree to the best of their ability, to the best of its ability. But because, again, we don't have those, it's really difficult to be able to have, or to be able to say that those things are tangible arguments. So yeah, see, so there we go. So yeah, I'm pretty sure most people are going to say something, say something like they would go to a HBCU. We got Amos got a 1, Derek got a 1, Outlaw got a 1, right? Dotson got a 1. So I think that the truth of the matter is, I think that, if we had the opportunity to have those things, we would basically use them. And here's the thing for me. At the time when I decided, when I got my I got my undergraduate degree, I chose not to get a master's from Norfolk. The reason why I chose not to get a master's from Norfolk is the fact that I was an out-of-state student already paying money outside of my butthole. And I was like, I'm done. Like, I don't want to stay here for an extra amount of time to spend more out-of-state money to be a part of the program. So I made a decision to leave. But that's not to say the same for other people who made the decision to go ahead and get their master's from Norfolk State. Again, Rick was one of them. Multiple people came back and came to Norfolk to get their master's degree. I think Sybil came to get her master's from Norfolk. If I'm not mistaken, I think, and somebody, if you guys know 100%, fact check me on this. I think Latoya Webb started in the master's program at Norfolk State. I believe so. Just multiple people who took that opportunity that was available to them. So there, Trail saying he got his master's from Tennessee State. So, I think that because the fact of, or because of the fact that we don't have those programs, it just doesn't make it a tangible argument. Okay, so yeah, so Webb finished. So that's what I thought, if I wasn't mistaken. So one of the, Latoya Webb got her master's from, a HBCU. So, we will, if it's offered in more places, I think that we would by and large go out and get it. But also, I think also too, and you guys in the chat, correct me if I'm wrong, your work too has to speak. Just because you have a master's degree doesn't necessarily mean that that's going to 100% guarantee you for X job. You have actually have to show your work and show yourself approved. And I think that within itself is a bigger issue when we start talking about the gatekeeping stuff, right? So if I got a master's from PWI and somebody else has a master's from an HBCU, but my work says that I've only done X, Y, and Z, but somebody else's work says that they've done A, B, C, D, E, F, G, so on and so forth, then regardless of where I got my master's from, they're gonna more than likely that job is going to pick the person whose work has spoken for themselves. So again, I don't know directly if that's a tangible argument. I think that, and here we go. This is the challenge. I think that we need to get more master's programs in HBCUs, And getting more master's programs in HBCUs will probably see an influx of music educators wanting to go and achieve higher level education from in music programs at HBCUs. So there we go. There's the argument. So let's yell for more master's programs. Here we go, HBCU band talk with this hell Wildcats. Anyway, but let's actually kick down the doors. And let me get off topic very quickly. We can argue and talk about who got the best band in the land and all that kind of stuff without adjudicated numbers. I'm still gonna always argue that fact, but let's argue about getting higher level programs into our universities. Let's advocate for that. So let's actually push that. So I'm going to stand on that. All right.
I just want to add to this though. While why I do agree that we should, we first gotta reel it back in real quick and say we need more credible programs. Like like
I agree.
as a music educator, that because that's what we should be, not just band directors. The reality of it is this: there's a certain time frame that we march. If you choose to be a band director, there should be a certain time frame where you learn the craft. There's a certain time frame where you're perfecting your craft, and there's a certain time frame where you continue perfecting your craft and then you help others. My issue is there's a lot of music programs and music departments, not schools of music, but music departments that are not even accredited in themselves. And then they're graduating people that's not prepared. Now I don't want to go down that rabbit hole because you and I can go there. But we gotta start there. And then because number two, and we just gonna be honest, a lot of these masters of music programs or masters of music education programs are now becoming more saturated with people that couldn't even teach in the beginning. So that's a whole nother topic and discussion. But I'll just leave it at that.
I mean, yeah, that is a whole different topic because you're absolutely right. I mean, I don't disagree with that part at all. Um, Yeah, that's a whole nother argument. That's a whole whole different argument, and I really do not want to open that can of worms up because we'll be in here for another hour. I do want to say this though. While I got HBCU band talk in here, and here's my reality check for the moment, and if you want to hear more updates on my thoughts, you can check in on Monday. But right now in HBCU band, Bethune has the best sounding band in HBCU right now. So I just wanted to put that out there. By and large, Bethune's band sounds the best in HBCUs. Fight me, but I'll get there. I'll get on that on Monday. All right. Let me go ahead and do this because I haven't done it in a while. Welcome everybody to Talk That Talk. We have the unfiltered, unscripted, uncomfortable conversation about band, HBCU band culture, music education, and more. Yes, I am absolutely. I'm standing by that, Justin. Go ahead and smash that like button right now, man. Don't even wait on it, man. Look, if you don't agree with what I said, it's fine. Go ahead and give me a thumbs down, whatever. I don't care, but it's cool. Just go ahead and help us with the YouTube algorithm. All this also, please make sure you subscribe to the Passions Network and turn on notifications. This episode will be up on all your podcast networks. Just type in Talk That Talk, except for on Apple Podcasts, where you can type in Real Talk That Talk. Again, if you want to hear my thoughts and me expand on that, watch on Monday. All right, here we go. So somebody said this, and I want to bring this up. They said something to the degree of, why can't we just apply to other places? If we feel like we're being gate kept out of our places, why can't we just apply to other places?
They really want to know because unfortunately, uh, not all, but some of us are not prepared to go to those places.
Ooh.
We gotta say what the real is. We gotta say what the real is. A lot of the times, from a departmental aspect, the department chair, the directors of bands, the professors, the faculty are stretched so thin for the actual needs of the students. Right, that's a bigger gate. They're so stretched to where what you actually need to be prepared for, not just from a academic perspective, but from a lifestyle perspective, meaning practice habits. Um, that's from a perspective of academic writing. That's from a point of view of all of those things that some, not all, but some students are just not prepared. That some students are not prepared for. That's the truth. Um, a lot of us, we come out graduating with an HBCU with tenacity and fervor that many people will never be able to compete with. Um, and I agree. That's why I say some. Some people are overqualified. I mean, overprepared. Absolutely. But there are certain experiences that we were not afforded to. Um, that we were not afforded that we lack, and some of those things are the minimal aspects. I'm gonna give you an example. I'm not gonna talk about nobody else's life of my own. When it came to drum set, didn't have much of teaching with that. Soloing and vibrophones, we didn't have a proper motor at the time for the vibraphone. Um, there's certain things that just unfortunately we didn't have, right? We were still working on, at the time I was there, PV, we were still working on the 5 octave Keylon bar marimba that they purchased 30 years ago. I mean, these are not excuses. This is just a reality. As of right now, I don't knock anybody. Texas Southern don't even have a recital hall. So we're think about this. PV don't even have the proper band hall. They haven't had a new band hall since what, 80s, what, 84, 83, since the establishment of Hobart. Like there's other things that unfortunately that we're lacking. And those things, honestly, contrary to popular demand, is what ensures that your department is accredited. So it's a bigger scope of things. And I'm gonna just be honest. You have to prove yourself. I'm sorry, Luke. Did you, when they found out you went to HBCU? Real talk. How did they treat you? I'm not saying they treated you
Who?
bad.
Who?
Texas Tech.
Um, it wasn't the nicest situation. I can tell you that. I mean, they didn't come in and start cussing me out, but I mean, they didn't really treat me bad. It was more or less,
What you know?
yeah, yeah, and it was very evident. The things that you're saying was very evident when I walked in those doors, and sat down in my first class. Um, in my AP at the beginning of my AP music theory class, it was like, all right, I got this. Boom, boom, boom. I'm good. Yeah, yeah. And then by the middle of it, I was like, what are they talking about? And the dudes in the class were like, yeah, man, I remember doing this when we were in undergrad. Yeah. And I was like, when the hell did we do this?
Yeah.
This did happen. So no, they didn't necessarily treat me bad. It's just, again, that goes to what you were saying. I was underprepared. Now, here's the other half of that. The other half of that is, and I think this kind of talks about some things that we were talking about earlier, the fact that One, I did go to a PWI, and two, because of the fact that I had drum corps experience, gave me more knowledge under my tool belt to be able to walk into certain spaces if needed to, or if I reached out to those spaces. And well, I'm not going to put my personal business out there, but Quan knows some of the situations that I've been through, and some of the conversations I've had in university. I was spoken with, so on and so forth. But it gave me the availability to be marketable for those places. And so, with that being said, again, I think that goes to you're showing yourself approved, but then it also goes to that argument that sometimes it does feel like white is right. So I don't know. Let me bring Portia in. She been missing for a while, and I love to get my sister in here so she can get to cussing, because that's what she does. I'm just playing. She don't always cuss. Hold up. She ready. She looking. All right, here we go. There we go. You muted. Good morning.
Hey.
I was waiting for
Can
you.
y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay.
This ain't the old platform. You ain't got to worry. When you come in, you're gonna be good. The old platform was garbage. When you came in, you don't know if you was gonna hear you. You ain't got to worry about that.
Somebody almost hit my car, y'all. Hold on. What is
I
going on?
just got hit. Did they have that commercial in Virginia?
No.
Girl, you better call. Girl, you better call. I just got hit.com.
Free promotion for them. We just gave them.
Yeah.
But Portia, first off, it's always good to see you. Second thing, I know y'all got a lot going on.
Oh
Third,
my God.
yeah. Impromptu, last minute. If you all don't know, I'll just go ahead and put it out there. If y'all do not know, Norfolk is going to Tennessee for the Tennessee State game.
All right.
And it was randomly announced, just like literally out of the blue, so much so that I text Portia and was like, "Hey, so have fun." And she was like, "We just got the meeting. How you even know yet?" And somebody else had posted it on Facebook before the staff even posted it on Facebook. So they're preparing for that. So and I'm actually looking forward to seeing that. So, but I know that you got a lot going on. There's a lot of conversation going on about it. So yeah. So anyway, before we get back into this topic, you good? You how's life?
Man, one day at a time. It's so much going on, but I'm good. I can't complain. My granddaddy say any day above ground is a good day.
Amen.
So, yeah.
Amen. So
Yep.
we are having this conversation about gatekeeping right now, and I want to get your thoughts on this. Do you or have you experienced any gatekeeping as it pertains to auxiliary, the band world, so on and so forth?
What do we mean by gatekeeping? Because people have different definitions of that.
So I made sure that I started out the whole show by reading the definition. So I will make sure I read the definition from the dictionary, and then wherever you go from there is up to you. So
Okay.
the activity of controlling and usually limiting general access to something.
Well, there's traffic going through the tunnel at 9:37 at night.
Uh,
So have I experienced it? No, I don't think so. Since I've been coaching or since I was in undergrad, I think, and you, Julian, can probably attest to this. Like the Silkettes are so like close, like even across generations. So I mean, even after the game against A&T on Saturday, I had a Silk come up to me and say, "Hey, I just want to donate some money towards stockings or whatever you need. Like, just where do I send the money? And if I have a question about anything pertaining to the, a certain twirl or something y'all did, like, I reached out to them like, hey, we got an idea for homecoming. We're looking for this, and this kind of tune from the past. And all of them got back to me, like anything they could do to help. I mean, every time I see one of them, they're asking how we're doing, what we need, what they can do to support us. Um, Telling those girls how good they're doing. They thank them for carrying on the legacy. If they need any help, not just in this and in life, um, recommendation letters. Like, it is just such an amazing support system that I don't feel like I've experienced that. What I do see and what I do feel like is that there's not a lot of, to me, camaraderie amongst coaches, and that's why I really applaud what like Sean is doing, because it kind of highlights different areas and different coaches and different like coordinators. Because I mean, I know some people by name only, but I speak to everybody. Hey, how you doing? But that's not the case. So I would say from my experience, gatekeeping in my own house, no, whatever they can do to help us. I do feel like, there's not a lot of camaraderie, not a lot of how can we help each other, that I've seen. And the thing is that, there are things I feel like that we can learn from each other. Like, I haven't been doing that this long, so if you see me doing something that I could do better, I'm open to it. I'm open for constructive criticism. I'm also open to and acknowledge the fact that, and I need other people to understand that before I got to Norfolk State, I still twirled. And so my skills aren't limited to the style of Norfolk State. So if you need some help at whatever your school is to work on some things, I'm a resource. I'm not competing with you. We're out here trying to push this craft forward and make sure it stays at the HBCUs. So I think we, as people who coach color guard, could do better as far as sharing our resources, tips, things that we can do, that work for you that could probably work for me and vice versa. But as far as gatekeeping, no, but there's not a lot of camaraderie. And we're not competing every week. And half of these schools I don't even see. So, it's how can we push each other forward and support one another? Because, I mean, from that conversation we had, that auxiliary conversation we had, we're experiencing some of the same things in Virginia and in Texas. So it's not the issues and things that we're seeing as students change is not specific to one area, one state, one band program or another. So how do we adjust and continue to keep the quality that we expect and to grow this art form as a whole? So I think more so from an auxiliary perspective, at least in my experience, is more about there's no camaraderie, not necessarily gatekeeping.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right as it pertains to the Legion. I mean, just now having a Legion conversation, yes, for the most part, the Legion itself is really just kind of family-esque.
Yep.
So that does happen. So I can understand from your standpoint not being able to see it. But then when you start talking about, not sharing information, so on and so forth, communicating with one another, yeah, that can be an issue. But I think that's not even just an issue within the auxiliaries. I think that's an issue across the board.
That's true.
From school to school, section to section, and I think because we're always in battle mode. And then we always look at our personal rivalries, us in Hampton or us in Virginia State or PV in Texas Southern. And I think, one of the things that made me feel different about all those things, because I was that guy, right? Like when I got to Norfolk, I was the F A&T, F Hampton, F Virginia State, everything Norfolk. I think what helped me to see things differently was KK Psi. Becoming a member of KK Psi, understanding, what KK Psi was about and what its role was, and knowing that, regardless of the disdain I had for whatever group, I have brothers and sisters on the other side, who know the same information that I know and who are following the same rules and regulations and creeds and so on and so forth that I had. So yeah, no, I agree. people aren't sharing that information out, but I think a lot of that just deals with, again, the just dissension that we have and the rivalries that we have. So before you came in, we were talking about directors and jobs and so on and so forth. And one of the questions that was posed was, if you feel like you're being gatekeeped from certain jobs or from certain institutions, HBCU band programs, if you're an HBCU, if you're a black band director, then why not go to other programs? And so the question I'm going to ask you, Portia, is, while we were talking about other programs, and I think Quan answered that really well, what about smaller HBCU programs? Because a lot of the times when you think about it, we always want to, in most cases, try to get to the bigger programs. We want to try to get to the Jacksons, the FAMs, the Bethunes, in this case, Norfolks, the Southerns, and so on and so forth. But what about the smaller programs? Why don't we try to go for those programs since we feel like we're being gatekept or gate-kept, I don't know if that's a word, out of the bigger programs?
Because a lot of people have in their head that ideal program or that ideal dance line or color guard group, and you when it's not as established or you don't have the top recruits, you're gonna have to put some elbow grease in that thing. You're gonna have to work a little bit harder to get it to a place that I'm gonna deem quote unquote respectable. You know what I'm saying? But the other side to that is, and I mean, people will go back and forth about whether Norfolk is a top band or not, but I would never want Bethesda's job, because the flip side of that is then you got to maintain that. And whether you at a huge program or a smaller program, it's a lot of work in that head seat. And you may deal with different issues, but the issues are the same. But people want to shoot straight to the top and be in a situation where you are dealing with 200, 300 students, and that is the absolute minority. That is not going to be everybody's reality, just like everybody can't go to the NFL, the NBA, Major League Baseball. Those are the minority. Most of the people are going to have to find those, smaller programs. But to me, if nothing else, we've seen in these last couple of years that small can be mighty if you put the work in. But the question is, do you want to put the work in, or do you want to be, the focus to be on you have a title at whatever school this is? I mean, I have seen some smaller programs do some awesome things in these last couple of years. Kentucky State, crazy. I know some bigger programs that wouldn't want to see them in a one-on-one battle. You know what I'm saying? And that's a thing. So that's, to me, respectable. They put their head down, put that work in, and built some horses out there. To me, what you gonna say to that? So I don't know why people don't do it. It's not as glamorous. It ain't as many YouTube videos of you walking out in front of that. That's my personal opinion.
Yeah.
So I just want to add this real quick. I mean, the Portia, I agree. Most people don't want to build, but if I go to a smaller school, you have to have that administrative support to build that program. So I look at, in most recent years, Savannah State, I feel like they're on the upcoming. Albany State, come on. Albany State doing it. Kentucky State, and
Florida Memorial.
Hell yeah. But we cannot mention Mississippi Valley. I mean,
yeah, that was crazy.
I mean, if you
it's some horn holders. We're gonna be honest, some horn holders, but he got them.
I mean, you can. One could argue Langston too. I mean, we don't talk about Langston much.
Oh yeah.
Before Gordon got there,
Yeah.
Langston was about 20 people soaking wet.
Absolutely, and I mean, I just named Kentucky State because that's off the top of my head while I'm driving home. But there are a number of small programs that have really been, you know, showing that this thing can be done. And if you put out a good product, they will come.
Yeah,
You
most
know,
definitely.
but you have to have, that you have to want to work for it, and that's in anything that you want to grow is going to require work, and having the administration to support you goes without saying. I mean, because if not, you're in quicksand. Eventually, you're gonna get tired and give up, But if you have an administration that is saying, "I want a program," and you express to them what it is that it takes and come up with a plan and put your head down and go after it, it's possible. It is possible. I'm gonna be honest. We had some rough years after we had some transitions around here. This is what you see now ain't what is
I agree.
what it's been. And but they Miss Sanders put their head down and put that work in and got it back to where it is now. Like that, I mean, that's something to be said for that. And I just think that if your true goal, everybody wants to be.
You there? You there? It's me.
Me.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know what
Yeah,
happened.
my phone started ringing and it cut off my mic or something.
Okay.
Everybody wants to be at the pinnacle of whatever field or endeavor they're in, and that makes perfect sense to me. But everybody can't be at the top. So if your goal is to be an educator and to enhance the lives of students through music or auxiliary or whatever your craft is, to me, doing that to the best of your ability wherever you are, to me, should be the goal. I never thought I would be coaching. Um, don't know if once my time is up here that I'll continue to coach. I don't know how I feel on the other side of this. But whatever I'm doing in my life in general, I try to do it to the best of my ability, and I just think that should be the goal. And if you operate like that in life, good things will come to you, including your program, including the unit you coach. And I don't know. I can't. Everybody can't be at. It's not that many schools that have these huge band programs. So
That's true. That's true. There is somewhat of an unrealistic expectation, and that's a whole different conversation. Um, so, Quan, I got a question for you.
Mhm.
So, I am a guy. I have my undergraduate degree. I got my master's degree. I've applied to this HBCU. I've applied to that HBCU. I didn't get hired because I felt like they were gatekeeping. I'm not prepared to go to a PWI um, because, or maybe I am. Let's just say I am prepared to go to a PWI, and they gatekeeping. They hired people from their university. What do you do? What's the next move?
So I'll ask that person, do you want to be a band director or marching band director? If that's the case, you need to go to a high school and build one. We're talking. You need to build one, and you need to build it to the capacity. And I use everything as motivation. I would literally build it, of course, with the kids in mind to make sure that these kids are successful. But I also will build it to show them that this is what you needed. But I'm a believer in Christ. So I also believe that it maybe was something that I needed to learn
mhm.
because like not being ugly in my heart of hearts, I know I'm gonna be a director of bands. I know it. However, my prayer was to be the greatest band director of this generation. And what God did, He was like, go build a school. And all the things that I thought I knew, I'm learning now. That would be my advice because I'm living it. You think
Man,
here's the difference 9 out of 10 with all what we just said tonight, you got to build your school. So, how are you going to market your
that's a
band?
reality for the majority of people.
Right. So my question is then, how are you then going to market your band completely different from somebody else's? Everybody is doing patterns in motion. Not everyone is doing linear drills, but do you know how to do that? Let's be honest. Most music departments and HBCUs, not all, not all, but I mean not all, but some, and very few in between have a marching band class where you learn marching band fundamentals and methods. Most of us, we got most of, like, we just want to keep it 1,000. Most of us are great at music theory, but you don't have any administration skills whatsoever. And most of your job as a band director is what? Admin work. You know what I'm saying? Most of us know how to do music theory, but uh, you don't know how to fundraise and market. All of that is being a band director. We don't take child psychology courses, those CUIN courses, to truly understand the child psyche, and understand Maslow's hierarchy of thinking, to make sure that I'm putting this horn in their class and in these kids' hand, but maybe they didn't eat. So how can I make sure that a few of the things that they need, is taken care of so that they can be attentive in the class? It's so much more about being a band director. That's why most of us are stressed. And so those are the things that you don't learn in school. You learn them in the trenches. Yeah, my strength may be percussion, but if I'm gonna build a band, I need to know about woodwinds and brass. So you need to learn about how to write drills, and then how to, like you and I talked last night, how to teach it to a child that never understood. So, I mean, at the end of the day, maybe it wasn't your time at that moment, but you keep pursuing, you keep seeking, you keep the faith, you'll get it in your due season. And I feel like I'm a living witness. In my due season, I'm gonna get it. So.
Yeah, I mean, that was a very very good response to that. And the truth of the matter is, sometimes you end up finding out that maybe you may have wanted to be in a specific place, and then you get to that high school program or that middle school program, because the truth of the matter is, you're not always going to get a high school program either. And you may end up in a place where you found where you were supposed to be. um, but I don't know, when it goes back to the topic at hand. I still question, is it gatekeeping? um, Possibly. I think it's a 50-50 thing. I think there is levels of gatekeeping. Yes, I think that is a thing. I think that, yes, as you stated earlier, um, most schools, not most schools, but a lot of schools are going to keep it in house. The bigger schools that we talk about are going to keep it in house. I mean, let's just be real. I do not foresee there being a Bethune graduate ever teaching band at Southern. I don't see that. I wasn't talking to you, Google. Anyway, no, Google just goes off. I don't understand. I wasn't talking to you, but I also think too that you said it, I said it. You got to also show your work. At the end of the day, regardless of what university you came from, what school you came from, you have to show yourself approved. You can't just be like, well, I went to this university, give me this job. You have to have something on your plate. You have to have some successes on your plate. You have to have something to show for, to show for you being in that position, and why would they hire you? And that's true too. Sometimes gatekeepers are trash.
No, he said they keep the trash out.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, I read. Oh, is this a different area? Portia got a new background. I ain't never seen this area. Hold on. I got that. What is this?
We're gonna call it shades of blue.
You
You muted.
muted. Muted. You muted, Portia.
It's my dining room. I didn't feel like going upstairs.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, I ain't never seen this one. This is, oh, look at here.
Oh my God. I'm normally in my office.
Got you. Well, yeah, I can agree to that too, brother Outlaw. It can keep the trash out, but it can also pull some trash in. I think at the end of the day, vetting people is always going to be the greatest answer for everything. It's always good to be able to have that person in your back pocket that you already know that's going to be groomed for that position anyway. And really, when you start talking about university programs, that's typically what happens. I mean, if you really want to keep it 100, most university programs have already made a decision on who they want in that position, but legally they have to put the job out there. And when they put the job out there, they have to do an interview. That's all legal. But in the grand scheme of things, they already know who they want in that position. Now, there are some situations where they put the job out there and they interview somebody who they see may be a better fit than the person that they have. And so they may go through maybe the second interview or so on and so forth. But at the end of the day, most university positions already know who they are. Now, is that a sense of gatekeeping? Yeah, it kind of is.
Hell yeah. Hey, and I'm gonna just say this real quick. Some of them are hiring people because they don't want to pay.
But I don't know if that's gatekeeping. I think that's just being cheap.
Nah, but that's a part of it. Like if you got two qualified people, we talk about it, and we'll have a conversation, after the fact. If you got two people, and one is like, "Wow, I'll be willing to take whatever," like Portia said, that 40,000, and you like what? That's 60,000 to have the name as director of bands, and the other dude be like, "Nah, I know my value." Well, shit, I'm gonna give it to him.
But that ain't gatekeeping. That's because we allowed that as a people.
Thank you. That's
That's on us. Because if nobody was taking these peanuts to say they was on somebody's band staff, then it wouldn't be then that wouldn't be the thing. But I do not understand that. When y'all told me these facts about these band directors in these positions, changed my life, but not in a good way. We are allowing that. That's crazy. I don't even know what to say other than that's us. That's not something that they are doing to us. We are allowing that. And until we decide that we won't take peanuts for something that takes up that much of your time, we're going to continue to see stuff like that.
Yeah, and again, I don't think that's gatekeeping at all. I think it's two things. One, I'm sorry, I watched it happen at Norfolk State as a DJ, because, and this is no slight to him because he's well known in the area, but I know a DJ who historically was like, oh, that guy charging you how much to do this party? All right, no problem. I got you for less, and we'll take the gig. So I don't know if that's a hustle move or what, but I wouldn't necessarily consider that gatekeeping. But again, I think the gatekeeping part is definitely having somebody in the wings that you have already groomed for that position. They know that they're going to get that position. You've already talked to them, and then y'all just put the job out there. I think that's so phony to me. I'm sorry, as a person who's been on the job hunt before, so on and so forth, I just think that is like the phoniest thing ever. To be like, all right, well, legally we got to put the job out there, but we already know who we're gonna hire. Like, because you get people excited and hyped up for a possible position that they not gonna get anyway. I just think, I don't know. That's just a personal opinion. Anyway, it's raining out here. My wife said it's time for me to wrap it up. My wife old school. It's raining. You got to turn all this electricity. She ain't that bad, but no. I don't know. As far as gatekeeping is concerned, I don't know if we have an answer for that just yet. 100%. I think it's still a 50-50 thing. But I do think that sometimes you win some and you lose some. If you apply for the job and you don't get it, you just don't get it. And that's just the reality that we have to face. Now, is it a possibility that it could have been because of gatekeeping? Maybe. Or maybe you just need to work on your craft a little bit more and build up your resume a little bit more.
Or that job was not for you.
Or that.
Sometimes you don't know what you're being protected from.
Because some areas that you think is glittering, ain't no glitter there. It's doo doo. It's doo doo, baby. So
Covered in gold. Okay.
some areas, some of it ain't even covered in gold. Some of it just straight doo doo. And it's letting you know it's doo doo up front, and you just be like, see, this go to the Porsche thing, and you just take the doo doo anyway. You just slather it all on your face. Give it to me. But which I said, Porsche. When you were talking about it, to be quite honest, I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing, right? Think about it. If I'm an undergraduate kid, for some people who have not graduated yet, I don't know how that happens, but whatever. If I'm somebody who is an undergrad or just have a bachelor's degree and somebody is going to offer me a position for 40,000, I go even higher, 45,000 to be a university band director. I ain't married. I ain't got no children. So 45,000 for me may sit just right for me.
You said somebody without a degree.
I said either they're in undergrad, which I said I don't understand how that happens, but it does, or if they have their bachelor's degree.
What I'm gonna say is, I guess you got some kind of point there. I mean, they fresh out of school. That's a decent amount of money. But for the amount of work, I don't know. I guess it would depend on what their role is.
Yeah,
I
they
guess
wouldn't be head. Most of those guys wouldn't be head. They would be
yeah.
just
So I mean, and they could probably supplement their income with something else. But I'm talking about assistant director of bands, like you. I mm, mm. Lord, I mean, I get it. You're an arranger. You low man on a totem pole. I got it. You fresh out of college. That would have been decent money. But some of the salaries that y'all tell me these people are getting, or some of the stuff that I've seen out here, is absolutely nuts for the work that goes along with some of this stuff at being even at the top. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree. Knowing your worth is necessary. But again, I think that is a case by case basis. If you a situation, um, if you in a situation like me where I'm married and got 3 kids, then accepting a university gig with that much work for 40,000 is just unacceptable. And yeah, people, y'all, I got three of them things. But
You
if
see,
I'm single, it's something different.
Rick comment.
Yeah, I see his comment, and I absolutely agree with what you're saying. The part about that is, it's actually happening out there, my guy.
And
So
it's happening more than often. And here's the other trip part to that as well. You have people, and regardless if they say it or not, I still feel that is wrong. If you're getting a master's degree and education or curriculum instruction, and you're not even able to teach the entry level theory courses or entry level music level courses, then what good are you as just a band director? What are you teaching people, bruh? That's what I'm saying too. So before before we even tackle gatekeeping, we need to speak about hiring practices and standards. Like there's there's no other from what I see portion of education that we dummy down, and then we wonder why we are mistreated at the quote unquote football games because we treat ourselves like that. That don't make no damn sense. You wouldn't have confidence in a surgeon
if he had an undergraduate in biology, but then he got his master's degree in basket weaving. That's literally what we be doing, bro.
I
I
don't
don't
know.
get that.
I mean, if you a surgeon and you basket weaving, I mean, you can kind of, put them together and probably.
All
I don't
right,
know.
all right, all right. Let him play with your heart then. Let him play with your heart.
Just saying, it may go hand in hand, my guy. Have a nice little design on your wound. You just never know, bro. You never know. Uh,
Uh, and you're dead. And you're dead. He sold you up good because you're dead.
he wanted you to look nice for the funeral. Oh shoot, it is lightning outside. Yeah, it is. But yeah, no. I agree. I absolutely agree with you, bro. Yeah. Yeah, I have no response on that other than I absolutely agree, because if I walk into a doctor's office and I see bachelors in interdisciplinary studies and masters in basket weaving.
But here's the crazy thing. Here's the crazy thing, bro. Some of those particular disciplines, you can't even get into the programs until you meet the qualifications. That's the crazy thing. Even they got standards.
So
It's
to
just
me,
us.
sometimes we do the opposite of that. We give it away too freely because we know him, and he was a decent arranger when he was in undergrad. He can really play that horn. So we gonna put him in front of these college students. I don't care. He couldn't get out of college, and that's the goal. So what kind of all around example is he is this person providing? Y'all know how I feel about this. Crazy. And what I ultimately feel like, if you really want to help or use that person as a resource, say it's contingent upon you enrolling and finishing this degree. You can help from this section, or you can help us once you have the credentials. But I think it's ridiculous for you to tell these, hey, staff, can make sure you communicate to the students to go to class. Well, you can't tell me to do that because you ain't go.
You feel me?
I mean, to me, what's the goal? They're coming and matriculating through universities. So I don't understand. Like, what are we saying here? If you good at your craft, you don't have to get the education to back it up. That's fine if you want a gig, but this is a place of higher education. We should be living that example, in my opinion.
Man, with that being said, man, we are going to end it right there. I know we didn't let anybody in today, not done on purpose. Again, it is lightning outside of my house right now, and I wanna be safe. I want to turn the electricity off. But no, I think this has been a great conversation. I know that at some point we're going to have the opportunity to dive deeper, get a little bit more into this. But I think this is a really great start. I don't know, Bailey. I don't know what's so,
I
but
got a quick question before we leave though.
yo, what's up?
Did y'all discuss that HBCU Colorado shirt?
No,
Hmm. Okay.
I'll put that on the docket for Monday. There we go. Yeah, because that was trash. I'll talk about that on Monday. But as far as Monday is concerned, though, if you wanna find out why I said that Bethune is the best sounding band in HBCU right now, check me out on Monday. We will do Luke's band update on that. Man, let's get ready to get out of here. So before we go, like we always do it. Oh yeah, I didn't let anybody in again because it was raining. So no slight to anybody. I would have loved to have heard Justin and hear what he had to say, and anybody else in the chat. All right, Quan, any final thoughts? Anything you got for the culture, bro?
We just gotta continue to do better, man. Like we gotta continue to elevate our standards, and if we take our own craft serious, others then will. That's it.
Okay. All right, Portia, any final thoughts? Anything you got for the culture?
How can I say this? Protect what we should, share what we can, and strive to be better daily. Like that's it. That should be the goal across the board as a people.
First, I thought you were gonna say and strive for highest. Sorry, my bad. My bad.
Hey, bro, I felt that though. I felt that.
You felt what? Sorry.
I,
What
I
Portia
felt what
said?
she said. I
Oh
felt
yeah,
it in my spirit.
yeah, absolutely. I thought you
I
were
felt it.
talking about that thunder that just cracked outside. I didn't know if you heard that or not. So yeah, but no, I agree. With that being said, man, honestly, what I'm gonna always say, or what I'm gonna say, man, is build yourself up, work on your resume, get your undergraduate degree, get your experiences. Don't just stay at one place forever. All right, go get an experience, go somewhere else, get some more knowledge from somewhere else. As Rick said, go to conventions, get the knowledge that you need to be better so that you can go to the next level. Your job as a music educator is to be an educator, to be a professional, to be an expert, as Rick said. And so, with that being said, go and get the knowledge that you need. And if you feel like you have been kept out of a specific situation for whatever reason, I will go off of what Portia said. That ain't the job for you. God is protecting you from something. And so, because of that, hey, move on to the next thing. But is there a such thing as gatekeeping? I would definitely say yes. But, hey, it's up for y'all to decide. This has been a great topic. Again, it is going nuts outside. My kids are probably up right now crying and all that kind of stuff, wondering, hey, Daddy, when you coming upstairs? Don't worry about it. I'll come upstairs when I want to. Hey, Portia, stick around for a second after we tip out of here. Other than that, I ain't got nothing else. This has been a super dope episode. Quan, if you want to stick around too, you can. You probably won't though. All right, man. I ain't got nothing else. We will see you guys on next week.